Hi everybody, it's Lori Bradley and I'm here in St. Louis, Missouri. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and instead of lunch with Lori, we're having a late afternoon snack today. Just wasn't going to happen at normal lunchtime. So I am going to tell you a couple of things. I got a little sidetracked today. Demonstrators can actually see the new September to December mini catalog online, and I only got it through a couple of pages, and I was like, oh, I have to get my cards ready for my live. So after I'm done with this, you can guarantee I'm gonna pop back on there and check that out. So if you're a demonstrator and you're watching, just know that you can see the catalog online. If you're not a demonstrator and you'd like to see it, then you need to sign up and be a member of my awesome team. But that's a whole nother day's topic. So today, yesterday actually was my 14th Stampin' anniversary. So I've been a demonstrator for 14 years and it's been a lot of fun. I've met a lot of new friends along the way, a lot of new techniques and new stamps, and it's just been a whole lot of fun. And so thank you for hanging with me for this long. If you've been around, some of you have been with me for that long. And if you're new to my business, then welcome. I do have a sale, a special anniversary sale today, now through Sunday the 3rd. That if you spend $60, you get 12 sheets, 12 card bases, and 60 sheets of 4x6 designer series paper. Some will be new, some will be retired. And then if you spend $100, actually, $60 also, you would get a free fun fold class. And that would be next month. So that would be in August. So 12 card bases, 60 pieces of designer series paper, a fun fold class. If you spend $100 in my online store, then you get 20 pieces of card bases. Oh my goodness, my words are blah, blah, blah. 20 card bases, 60 pieces of designer series paper, an embellishment. I'll send you a brand new embellishment and a free fun fold class. So that is my happy anniversary special for everyone. Okay, so let me turn this around. Today we're going to use a 6x6 piece of designer series paper, and that is the basis of our one sheet wonder. One sheet wonders are if you take a single sheet of cardstock, or not cardstock, of designer series paper, you're going to use that with no waste. I'm actually going to have about a 1/4 of an inch waste because I can't figure out what to do with the last piece. But I have, for this particular one, it's best if you have a non-directional piece of paper so that your flower doesn't have stems or anything like that, because we're going to cut it. It's just easier that way. It's easier if you have a non-directional piece of designer series paper. So I have a 6x6 of the Floral Wishes designer series paper. We're going to take our paper trimmer and we are going to cut. We're going to cut it at 4 inches. So I'm going to cut it off at 4. Just like that. I'm going to separate out all my pieces so that I know what I'm doing with those. This one is 2. I'm actually going to make this 5 1/4 inches long. So I'm going to turn it and I'm going to cut that. This piece right here is the only piece that I don't know what to do with. And actually it's 5 1/2. It's going to be at 5 1/2. All right, now for this piece, we're going to cut it at 4x4. And then this piece stays at 2x4. So I have those pieces. Let me get this out of the way. Actually, I did a little bit of an oops there, so let me fix that real quick. That one's going to be 2 by 5 1/2. Pretend this is still that piece of paper. All right, now I only have a 1/2 inch piece. Now I knew that looked too big. Okay. Now I've got my pieces cut. Let me lay that back down so you can actually see what I did. All right, so there's my 4x4 for that corner. There's my 2 by 5 1/2. And then there's my 2x4. And then this piece right here, this 1/2 inch piece, that's the one that I don't know what I'm gonna do with this piece yet. Okay, so this piece right here will be my only piece of waste, this little 1/2 inch by 2 inch piece. Okay, let's set that aside. All right, let's start with, you know what, the 4x4. Kathy, I just gave the measurements as I cut it when I first started, and I will put those in the comment. This one is 2 by 5.5, and then this one is 4 by 4, and this one is 2 by 4. That's how I cut it, but I will write that in the comments as well. All right, so I'm going to take my 4 by 4 piece, and I'm gonna cut it corner to corner. I'm just gonna put each corner into my trimmer, and I'm gonna cut that into 2 pieces, 2 triangles that are equal. Okay, I'm gonna set one aside. This is where the directional part comes in handy. If it's not directional, you don't have to worry about this one being upside down or this one being upside down when you move it. We're gonna put that onto our cards. Okay. I'm going to do a 4 1/4 by 4 1/4 card. So it's going to be a square card, but if we put that into a regular envelope, one of our regular A2 envelopes, so we should be fine and not have to do extra postage. But we've got a 4 1/4 by 4 1/4. And I'm not using anything fancy today. I'm just using a couple of punches, I'm not using my Big Shot, my embossing machine at all. So I've got some simple things going on. There's a car in my driveway right outside my door, and I can only think that maybe it's the Amazon man. All right, so I've got my 4 1/4 by 4 1/4 card. And then I've got a 4 by 4 piece of cardstock. Okay, so this is actually the same size as my triangle, and it's gonna get glued on just like that. And it can be either any direction because it's non-directional. So I'm gonna glue that onto our lemon lolly piece. So this is our first one. We're actually gonna make 4 cards. I didn't say that. We're gonna make 4 cards, like I said, with only a 1/2 inch by 2 inch little strip that's a scrap. Okay, so I'm gonna glue that on corner to corner, and then this piece I'm gonna go ahead and put on my card front. The one sheet wonder cards are not super fancy. You can embellish them and you can make them fancier, but they're the let's use all of our pretty paper kind of cards. So if you have some designer series paper that you love, that I highly recommend, chop it, get it on your cards, and you can make so many cards with your paper. All right, so there's that one. I'm gonna stamp. I just have some random stamps. I have some paper tags, a couple of stamps from the paper tag set. I have one from, I can't remember the name of this one. I just had this one on my desk from a sympathy class. And then I've got just a note from Notes and Totes. And I'm just gonna use those to add some words to our cards. So I've got Old Olive ink. If you are watching, Old Olive, has not been in my wheelhouse for many years, and all of a sudden I'm using it all the time. I don't know what the story is. And then I'm gonna stamp You Are Kind. I used a 2-inch circle punch, and I punched a 2-inch pool party circle. And this one I'm going to do a 1 3/4 inch circle. I've had this punch so long, it's still the old whale tail version, but it still works and it's still current. So I'm just gonna hang on to it. Sometimes the oldies but goodies are the best kind of thing. All right, so I've got Old Olive ink, You're So Kind, and then let's do a linen thread loop-de-loop on the back. I know, Lisa, everybody loves Old Olive. I'm starting to like it. I'm coming around, so all these years, like I said at the beginning, 14 years is how long I've been a demonstrator, and I've been stamping for probably, oh man, probably 20 plus years. I'm not sure. I know my neighbor and I, well, it's been longer than that because my neighbor and I made baby announcements for her daughter, and she will be 21 in August. So probably 22 to 23 years I've been stamping. Okay, I'm just gonna tape that on the back. Let me see which direction I want it. There we go. That one didn't get in the tape. Ah, just when I thought I had it. Okay, now I'm gonna put dimensionals on the back of this. A few of those. It is growing on me. I kind of hate to admit that, but Old Olive is definitely, it's not my lowest favorite anymore. Now, if you put more mustard back out here, I would cry and not even be interested. Okay, ta-da. There we go. We're just gonna put a little note on there. We've got a cute little thank you card. And there's card number 1. All right, now we're gonna take the other triangle and we're gonna do something different. We are going to grab my piece. You know what? I have to cut a quick panel. My panel is not here. I knew there was one more piece. All right, I've got I'm gonna make this a 4 by 5 1/4 panel. Just a regular old panel for my front. I think I kept my trimmer out here. Ugh. Ugh, more mustard. I can't even think about it. It's gross. All right, now I've got my piece, my triangle piece. So it was a 4 by 4 square, made it a triangle. I'm gonna fold my card base. And we're going to put this onto here, but we're going to add a couple of, we're gonna bring in that pool party and that Old Olive. So I'm going to start with, let's start with pool party. And I'm just going to put a line of glue down the longest, oh man, I probably knew this in geometry years ago, but whichever side of the triangle that is that the, no, not obtuse. Whatever it's called above the, I don't know. Anyway, I don't want to traumatize myself thinking about math. So I have this long 1/2 inch strip, and I'm just going to place it so that it's, there's a little bit of an edge, maybe about a 1/2 inch. It's entirely up to you how you would do that. Then I'm gonna do the same thing again on the pool party, and I'm going to attach the Old Olive strip. But this time I'm going to flip it over so that I can actually see and make sure that I've got my green border is about the same as my pool party. It doesn't have to be exact, but I don't want it to be huge if my pool party is small or vice versa. All right, now I'm gonna leave it just like that for this minute, and I'm going to attach this whole section to my card. Now, when I did my sample, where is it? I stamped directly onto this, and I did it okay without messing up. But you know what? Safety first. I'm actually going to stamp just a note down in this corner, just so I don't mess it up. And if I do, I can turn it over. All right. So just a note. This one is a quick and simple version. Now, I've got this triangle. I'm gonna line that triangle up with the corner. And yes, these pieces go off the side. That's okay. All right, just like that. Okay, we're gonna flip it over and take our paper snips and just trim right along that panel on both ends. And just a note, if you do it this way, I started with a 1/2 inch by 5.5, thinking a half sheet piece would be big enough. That's actually more than 5.5 depending on your angle. So just make sure you've got a long enough piece of the cardstock strip to go on there. Then let's go ahead and attach that. For this one, I used an old olive card base. Just a note. All right. So you know what? This one doesn't have a ribbon on it, so let's add a little bit of shine. Let's go with some adhesive back metallic gems. I don't use these very often, so let's do that. There's copper, gold, and silver. I think the gold. You pick it up. So this will make our second card of our 4. All right, that'll add a little bit of bling so it's not quite so plain. All right, so our first piece, there's our 4x4 square there, and we cut it in half. So there's one piece and there's the other. Okay, then we'll put these aside. Now I have a 2 by 5.5. We're working our way through our pieces here. And grab the right card base. All right, I did an old olive card base again, and actually this is different than my original sample, so hopefully I like this one. This one time I did a 4 1/4 by 11 piece of cardstock, and I scored it in the middle at 5.5. And then this one, I didn't use lemon lolly. I went for the daffodil because that is the darker yellow instead of the lighter. So that's going to be the outer margins of my designer series paper. So we can go ahead and glue that down. I have another 6x6 one sheet wonder that I found after I'd already decided on this one, so I'll have to do this again. And actually, last week's or 2 weeks ago's craft along was very popular, so I think my next craft along might actually be a 12 by 12 one sheet wonder where you can craft along with me. So that's my plan. I'll have to figure out when I can do that. It'll probably be an evening one just so we have plenty of time. Okay, so stay tuned for that. Got my piece onto my panel. This one is actually going to go directly on my card. I'm actually gonna just put it, I'm a matter. I love having a mat on the front, but for this one, I'm going to put it directly onto the card front. Oh, so that's a good idea. Thank you, Kathy. Thanks for thinking that's a good idea. Okay, now before I glue it down, I'm actually going to tie a ribbon. I'm gonna get my white ribbon here. I have just a piece of the white 1/4 inch polyester ribbon, just white ribbon. I'm gonna tie a bow onto it. Too far. Let's go back that way. And while I'm thinking about it, I will post a note, but I will not be live next Wednesday. We're right in the middle of several college visits, and so I will actually be on the road with our youngest son doing college visits next Wednesday. So I will put that on the event page for my Lunch with Lori, but I just want to give you a heads up that I won't be live with you next week. Okay, now I can glue this down. The whole college thing is killing me. This is yesterday we went to Mizzou yesterday, and I said I can't believe that we are college looking with our youngest. It's crazy. All right, so I'm just going to put this onto my card. I'm going to start at the top, right at the fold, work my way down, and that way, since I didn't cut them at exactly the same time, we can trim that, just trim off that edge. But I wanted to make sure to put the ribbon on first. Ask me why I think that's important, because I decided to add ribbon on my first card today and had to pry it back up. Okay, so now we've got that piece, and I'm just gonna do my sentiment. And this is not even a die cut. This is a 2 by 2 square and a 2 1/4 by 2 1/4 square. And that's actually what was in the package. I had a couple of extra pieces of white, and so the 2-inch strip was what called my name. And it's a wonderful day to celebrate youth. It's right on there. All right, let's put it right in the middle. The old olive ink. Okay. And then we'll glue that onto our yellow mat. Like I said, this is the simple version. We could have used die cuts. I could have added a whole lot of embellishment. I could have used embossing folders, but I wanted this designer series paper to be, you know, to show how easy it is to use your paper. Because how many times have you looked at your paper and thought, what am I gonna do with this? And sometimes when you have that 6 by 6 paper, you wonder, like there are times when you can't figure out how to get the best use out of it. So that's what I'm trying to show here. And then I'm going to off-center that. And you know what, let's go ahead. Let's add a couple of these gold things, these gold gems right here too. Maybe one here. I've never used these or haven't used them very often, so let's do it. And then maybe one over here in the blue. All right, so there's card number 3. This one is 2 by 5.5 for your strip of designer series paper. And then our last card, which I have hidden in my packet here. All right, find the right card here. It's hiding. I have to wing it so I remember what I'm doing. All right, so this one I also cut a 4 by 5 1/4, or a 4 1/4 by 11. I'm sorry, I'm telling lies here. A 4 1/4 by 11 piece of cardstock, but I'm going to turn it the other way. I'm gonna have it open like a book. So, oh my goodness. All right, so it's gonna open sideways like that instead of vertical. All right, so we have our first piece. Now, oh, I was gonna say, I thought I lost my original sample. I have a 4 by 5 1/4 pool party piece. And then again, I didn't use any dies. I just have some cardstock cut so that I can, and your cardstock that you cut for your sentiment piece and your mat can fit whatever you know, like you can use a circle, you can cut a square, you can cut a rectangle. Just whatever you happen to have in your stash is perfect. Whatever helps you use that paper. So this one I'm gonna make into a sympathy. We have a thank you, a just a note, and a birthday. So let's do a sympathy. And we'll go ahead. I'm gonna make this a little smaller. I'm gonna trim that off. Okay, when I made it, I think I cut it longer. All right, I'm gonna make it in, let's do 2.5. Let's cut a piece. That's the beauty. If you stamp toward one end, you can trim it off on the other and it'll still be even. But since I have that one, I also need to take 1/4 of an inch off of this piece to make it 2 3/4. Okay, so you want your mat to be even all around. Okay, getting a little of the prep work done for this one. Got my sentiment ready to go. Okay, now hold on to that one. Then we have our 2 by 4 piece of, this is our last piece of the designer series paper, 2 inches by 4 inches. And then I made my mat 2 1/4 by 4, and that's going to get glued on there so that there's an even green on both sides. I so enjoyed seeing the post that I did with the craft along recently, where everyone posted their pictures. I loved that. I love seeing what you guys do. All right, I'm gonna put this right on here. I actually used a yellow background when I did this originally. And so we're gonna have to trim this one just a smidge. And that's okay. I'll put it right in there. There we go. Because that would annoy me if I saw those little pieces on my card that were too long. Okay. I don't know why it is. Sometimes when you put things onto a trimmer and you don't cut it at the same time, it ends up a little bit different. Crazy. Okay, so let's go ahead and we're gonna put this piece onto our card front. So 4 by 5 1/4 mat here. Put that on the front. This weekend, I did online bingo with my friend Sue Phillip of Sue's Paper Creations in Canada. We had a great time, and we are going to do it again because we had so much fun. We did a birthday fancy kit. If you haven't seen the birthday fancy kit, it is so pretty. And so the kit itself makes 12 cards. I think going to do it. I might do this one live in person because it was so good. We did 12 cards. So the kit itself made 12 cards. So I showed 6 and Sue showed 6. And then after I did my first 3, I showed 3 and then she showed 3. We took the pieces, the extra pieces, and made alternative projects. So the first 3, my first 3 cards, she took the extra pieces and made a scrapbook page and then showed it. We didn't actually make it, we just showed. And then she made her first 3 cards, and I showed a decorated gift bag, just a good old dollar store gift bag. And then tags. We made birthday tags because you always need tags to go on your birthday gifts, right? And then while I'm talking here, I'm just gonna put a little linen thread bow right there, and I'm gonna overlap that just a little bit. So I made gift tags and a gift bag. And then my next set of cards, we did some step-up cards. So we just took those pieces of the card and added some extra, we recut them, we added a card base, we did various things to make the next step-up card, and we did that for the last 6. So we ended up with 12 regular cards and 12 extra projects that were shown. So if you buy the kit from me in the United States or from Sue in Canada, once you've bought that kit, if you buy the kit from us, we will send you the PDF for all of those extra projects that we did. They're not all, the directions aren't all there with dimensions, but there are pictures that you could copy off of. So keep that in mind. And if you're local in St. Louis, we're probably gonna do a bingo night with that awesome kit. So look for that coming out soon. All right, so there's our 2x4 piece. Then we have our 4x4 square that we cut into 2 triangles. And then we have our 2x5.5 piece of cardstock. If it's a great piece of paper that has 2 sides that you really, really like, then by all means, flip it over and use one of the other sides to make your cards look different. But I used a half sheet of a 12x12, so 6 by 12 piece, and we have 8 cards here that are all just a little bit different. I didn't do any of them exactly the same, I don't think. So there you have it, a one sheet wonder. I'll put the dimensions in the comments. Hey Pam, thanks for coming. I will put those in the comments, the dimensions that I cut. And then, like I said, next week I will not be live on Wednesday because we'll be out college looking. And then look for a 12 by 12 one sheet wonder craft along coming soon. So I hope that you all have a fabulous rest of your day and a good weekend. And I hope to see you back again soon. Thanks for watching.